guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a worth the buy or not foundation review on the very talked about Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. Now I actually really quickly want to talk about a few things before we get into the review. So if you do not give a shiz about any of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, then you can go ahead and fast forward. But I want to quickly start off by thanking you guys so much for voting in my poll. This is the first time that I do a poll on YouTube, and I'm so excited that it actually was successful and you guys were able to vote and pick which foundation you want me to review first. I do want to say I will be reviewing the Makeup Forever foundation. Don't think that I'm just going to be reviewing this one. No, after I review this, I'm going to be reviewing that Makeup Forever foundation. So expect a video this weekend on that foundation. I read through the comments that you guys left. So if you guys did leave your opinions on the foundations, which one you wanted me to try out, and just kind of things surrounding this Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. So I want to start off by the obvious, which is that a lot of people were extremely disappointed with the shade range of Beauty Blender. They came out with 32 shades, and within those 32 shades, there was literally only like, what, 4 or 5 shades that were for darker complexion, which was very interesting. And then everything else was kind of more like medium to light. So they released a statement after Trend Mood posted the picture of the shades, and everybody went crazy. Everybody was like, what the hell is this? You know, like, what are you doing right now? And they said that the picture was filtered and that that's not what it looked like. You had to receive it in PR for you to really see what it looked like. Now, all the big influencers received a very large beauty blender, like a huge egg, and it had all the shades in there. And they were like, this still looks very similar. Like, you still get all these like lighter shades, and then you get like 4 or 5 darker shades. Like, I don't see the difference. The owner of Beauty Blender also said that she wanted to do a foundation that catered a lot to the Latina woman because she has a lot of Latina clients who can't find their foundation shades. But the problem with the whole situation that she wanted to come out with a large range for people in those groups, I was like, wait, you know that women that have deep and darker skin complexion are also Latinas. Like, there's a big range of women that are darker that are Latinas that you are completely forgetting with just including 4 shades of dark. So that was an issue for me. And sometimes I really sit down and as I'm looking at these pictures, I'm thinking, like, is this real life? Am I really looking at just 4 shades? Like, what were you thinking when you were sitting down having meetings, testing formulas, and you just had 4 shades of dark? What were you thinking? Were you thinking, oh, this is gonna be acceptable? I mean, you just had that scandal with Tarte. You had so many launches from other brands where you could learn from. You could have been like, okay, we cannot do that because look at Tarte's launch, or look at this launch. It was just so disappointing, especially considering that Beauty Blender has such amazing hype and it had such like great reviews in the past. It was just really disappointing. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this out for the formula, because that's basically what I always do when I review foundations. I test it out to let you guys know my thoughts. I know that there was a very large group of people that wanted me to review this foundation. There was a group of people that were like, you know what, I do not support it. And I'm still willing to hear your thoughts and hear what you have to say about the color range. And like I mentioned, I do not support the color range. I think it was very poorly made. I think that they were missing a very huge chunk of the Latinas, because Latinas are also darker skin. They're not just light skin. They're not just like medium skin and that's it. We're working on the medium skin complexions. You know what I mean? I don't know. Whenever I see things like that, it's kind of like, what are they doing? One day, my goal is to have my own foundation line. And I swear to you guys, my goal is to have like 50 shades. 50 shades. I want to come out with every single perfect shade that I can personally come out with to fulfill as many groups of people. I've been reading so many reviews of people that are completely just like missed when it comes to shade range, and it makes me so sad because there's people that want to try these amazing products but cannot because they don't have their color. When I worked at Sephora, Makeup Forever was one of those brands that everybody always went to because they always had their color, and that's the type of situation I like to see. I like to see something that's there for everybody and something that everybody can try out. So when I saw that you had 32 shades and only 4 for darker skin, was a shame. So for anybody that's gonna say, you know what, it doesn't affect you, who cares? It still does affect me because I'm so passionate about the makeup world, and I'm so passionate that everybody can find their shade, everybody can have something for them. That's what I'm passionate about. I don't care about, oh, I only care about myself. No, that's not why I love makeup. I love makeup because makeup is something that you can do to get away from your problems, something that is very fun to do, something that you can just do for the day and do something so creative and then take it off. And for that to be taken away from a group of people just because they can't find their shade is really effed up. And yeah, so I do care about everybody's shade range. I don't just care about me. I don't just care about what's going to benefit me, because that's, at the end of the day, that's not who I am, and that's not why I put up videos. I put up content so that it can benefit everybody, not just a select group of people. So that's all I have to say for the shades. It's very disappointing, but I know that we're moving in a direction where there will be mistakes, but there also are brands that are doing everything they can to come out with great color ranges, and I really, really respect that. So now let's go ahead and talk about the Beauty Blender foundation. Okay, so it comes in this type of packaging. As you can see, you can put your Beauty Blender right here, and then the product is supposed to come out so you can get it out. And as you can see, it also has a lock, which I think the lock is a pretty cool idea, because if you're traveling with this, you can just lock it and then the product will not come out. So that's interesting. That's something I haven't seen before. I had to say that they had such a good concept and idea behind this packaging, but they missed out one major thing, that was their color, and that's where shit went left. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Tatcha water cream, and we are just going to drench our face in this. It's actually like 7 a.m. I went to the gym, I showered. I tried to be cute today and do like some fun earrings, but my hair still kind of looks whack. Okay, and then I'm gonna be taking my Hangover X primer, and I'm gonna be using this to prime my face. I love it. I really love this stuff. Like, I can't get over it. Okay, so I really quickly do want to talk about kind of like the claims and everything. So this is supposed to be a full coverage velveteen finish. It has moisture boosting hyaluronic acid, antioxidants rich white birch extract. It's supposed to be a weightless, buildable, whipped liquid foundation that can be layered for medium to maximum coverage to address the tone and texture. Never dull or greasy skin gets that pro artist velveteen finish that looks picture perfect. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and see what happens. Excuse my sponge, I used it yesterday and I got super dirty. Okay, you can see the product on there. It doesn't look super runny, but I'm gonna go ahead and just dot it on the skin. Okay, so that's dotted on the skin. And when I was trying to pick out the shade, I actually went back on Trendmood because they had swatches of the foundation, because I was trying to figure out what color I was. Honestly, I can never go by just looking at those like graphic, digitally made swatches. That is the least helpful thing. I wish more brands, as soon as they had launched, they would have like a chart that had actual swatches on somebody's hand, because that's so much better for me than just like those digital swatches. So they had swatches on trendmood.com, I mean on Trendmood's Instagram. This color though. And so I was trying to figure out my shade, and honestly, I still, like, as somebody that has that like Latina skin, that like medium to tan skin, I felt like the colors were either like too yellow or like too neutral. I was just like, I don't know which color is gonna fit me, but this is the one that looked like it was gonna suit me the best out of the ones that I was looking at. Like I mentioned, this is color 3.65. So with that pump, it actually covered all of my redness, I must say. You can't see any of my rosacea peeking through. The skin looks radiant. It looks like you have a natural glow from within, so that looks nice on the skin. I'm definitely seeing more like of a soft matte finish. It does have like this velvety finish. It feels weightless. It doesn't feel heavy now that I'm like seeing it on the skin. It feels like it's just like a natural weightless foundation. It covered everything it needed to cover, so that's a good thing. Does it look completely matte, or like it's gonna be like matte? No. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. So I wasn't gonna go ahead and use a brush, but I think I will be using the brush because I wanna see how it does wear with a brush in case you guys don't like using sponges. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that. So that's what it looks like. It's a little bit runny, but it's nothing too intense. So as you can see, like, it looks like it would be a good match in a way, but then I feel like it just looks too light. So I'm gonna go ahead and dot it. It's very pigmented, very pigmented. I know some people were saying that it reminded them of like the Huda Beauty pigment of the foundation. Okay, so it blends well with either or. Whether you use a sponge or a brush, you'll be fine. In case you don't like to use sponges, because I know some people don't like to use sponges, so I get it. So now that we have the foundation on, I have to say that the good thing about this foundation is that you can go ahead and use not so much product and it covers right away. I didn't have to worry about layering it. It does say that it's a buildable coverage, but I would have to say that this is more of like a full coverage foundation because it does cover. It also feels really weightless on the skin, which is another positive thing. I think it also has to do with the fact that it is more of like a liquidy consistency. It's not super duper liquidy, but you can definitely see that there's some moisture in there, which kind of helps that product sink into your skin super fast without it feeling like you're having this thick layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I'm gonna come back and give you guys my very first impressions on how this foundation wore the first 45 minutes. Okay, so I am back. It is now 9:23 a.m. I was actually just listening to Sam Smith, but I have some well-developed thoughts so far on this foundation. I feel like it wasn't giving me a true matte finish. I still felt like I could see some radiance there. So what I went ahead and did was I did go ahead and take a little bit of my Airspun powder and just a big fluffy brush and just put some powder onto like my smile lines and around my nose, because that's where I felt like it was still looking a little tiny bit radiant. The only area where I did bake was my under eye. You guys know I always have to bake that. And I do have to say that I'm impressed because it does not look cakey whatsoever in the under eye area. I feel like it looks very nice and perfected with the powder on. I wish that it would have given me the finish that it did when the powder is on, because I feel like with the powder over the foundation, you get a really perfected powder. Now, you don't need like a tinted powder, that's gonna be the same color the foundation, but even if you just use some setting powder, if you feel like it's going to look like a little bit more luminous, then I feel like it will give you a pretty finish. That's just something that I noted, and I feel like it's really important to speak on that, because I feel like sometimes when we powder our skin, it can look very, very cakey and just very thick, and I'm not getting that feel from this foundation, so that's a good thing. I feel like now that I went ahead and did a little bit of bronzing up, it definitely looks better than it did when we first saw each other just putting it on with nothing else on. But it did blend out really well with my blush. It didn't break apart. It didn't have any of those issues, so that's a plus. But I do feel like the foundation didn't wow me from the beginning of like, oh my God, this is like a beautiful filtered look. I wasn't really feeling that. So we're gonna see how this wears for the rest of the day, and I will be back for an update like I mentioned, and then I'll be back at the very end of the day and give you guys my final thoughts on this Beauty Blender foundation. So stay tuned if you want to know my thoughts on this new Beauty Blender Bounce foundation. Okay, so I am back. It is now 3 p.m. and I just wanted to give you guys a check-in in a different lighting. I know that we're always in my studio lights, but I wanted to give you guys like a real like life natural lighting view. So I'm in front of like 3 big windows, and I wanted to show you guys what the foundation is looking like. As you can see, it is looking very dewy. It's been about 6 hours. We started at 9, it is now 3 p.m. and we're gonna wear this for a few more hours to see how the longevity of it is. But I have to say that it was around like the 5th or 4.5 hour that I felt like we started to really shine through. Now, I quickly want to say the areas where I did go ahead and bake my under eyes, it's looking really in place and like oil free. Everywhere else where I didn't bake is where it's looking like a problem. It's looking super oily, and you can see the dew shine through. For me, who has very oily skin, I wouldn't consider this a matte foundation. Maybe matte for like the first 2 hours, but then it's going to get kind of nasty. It is 87 degrees outside, sunny and very humid, so that may be one of the reasons why it's also not helping, because it's hot out. But I feel like those are the best weathers to really test out a matte foundation for somebody that has oily skin. So That's just something I'm seeing. I also have to say, I feel like with the natural lighting, I can really see how the color looks, and I feel like the color doesn't look that bad. So I would have to say that this 3.65 is approved. I just have to say that I would definitely make sure that you swatch it to get the right color, because it could be off, but I feel like you guys can also tell me if you think it's the right color or not, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm not like completely blown away by this. I wasn't expecting for it to be really, really matte on my skin just because I have really oily skin, but we're gonna have to see how it wears out. I will probably go ahead and blot a little bit in the areas where I feel like I'm really oily, and then see if it's gonna hold up with the blotting or if it's gonna need to be retouched again at the end of the day. So stay tuned if you want to see my final thoughts on the new Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. Okay guys, so I am back. It is now 6 p.m. The last time I saw you guys was 3 p.m. and I'm going to be taking off my makeup now. It has been a total of 9 hours. The reason I'm taking off my makeup right now is because I'm actually going to a workout class. So I wanted to go ahead and remove my makeup before I went to work out, because obviously we can't wear makeup to a workout class or even the gym. So I want to talk about this foundation and give you guys my final thoughts. So in my last check-in, you guys saw how the foundation looked in natural lighting, and you guys saw how oily I was. So I went ahead after I did that check-in and blotted my face with some blotting tissues from Fenty Beauty. I actually just purchased them, so I can't give you guys like my full feedback on those blotting tissues, but it actually absorbed a lot of my oil and it was disgusting. Like, I had so much oil on my face. Once I went in with the blotting tissues, it did a good job of clearing up the oils. There's still definitely oil on my skin. It's not as intense as it was before I blotted, but I do have to say that it did remove some of the product right here around my smile lines once I did blot it. So that's just something to note if you are going to be blotting it. I also feel like you probably, if you do get this foundation and you have oily skin, you want to make sure you bake like I mentioned earlier, because my under eyes like are completely nice and matte. Everything around it is still looking, you know, like dewy. But to be honest guys, I really don't think this beauty blender is worth the buy for somebody with oily skin. Now if you're somebody with like normal, maybe like some dry skin but not really dry, you probably will like this because it's a nice smooth consistency. It's not thick whatsoever, and it probably will make sure that your like minimum oils will stay in place. Now I didn't let the shade range situation like interfere with the actual formula. If you guys saw my check-in, you guys saw how dewy I looked. And up close, you guys saw me up in close, and it was not cute. Like, it was not cute. So I would say, oily skin, stay away from this, because you will be disappointed, especially if you're reading it and you're like, oh my god, this is a nice velveteen, like matte, oil-free coverage. You won't like it. So now I want to hear your thoughts on this Beauty Blender foundation. Will you be purchasing it? Have you purchased it? If so, what do you think about it? And also, please thumbs up this video if you enjoyed watching it. I do have to say the next foundation I will be posting is the Make Up Forever Matte Velvet, which I am so excited about. I just purchased it. I cannot wait to try it out. I really hope that it's nice and matte because mama needs that. So if you guys are new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you a member of our family here on YouTube because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my videos for the world. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video and never miss out on a new upload. That being said, I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.